All right, y'all. Come on in the room. All right, y'all. Come on in the room. Welcome to another episode of Unlocking Your Legacy. I'm your host, Keith Robertson, the Fin Coach. Good evening. Good evening. Come on in the room. Topic of tonight is the $1 Million Baby Policy. How to give your children a financial head start in life. The wealthy has been doing it for decades. Generations on top of generations. They position their families so they can be successful in life while we're still trying to get our kids through high school, on to college. They already have their life financial plan in place. Excuse me. All right. Come on in the room, y'all. What you say, Tony? I see you out there, brother. Thank you for tuning in. Linda, I see you. Thank you so much for coming in once again. Ashley, thank you. Javion, thank you. Tanisha, thank you. I see you, Izzy. I appreciate your support. Give the family just 1 or 2 more minutes to come on in, if I'm going to give them that. Because this is important today, and we're going to get right on it. You know, so many people ask me, why do I do this? I do this because it's important to our community. We need to understand that there are tools, or I should say, we need to understand that there's public information that is just not public knowledge. It's here for us, and we have to go get it. That's right. We have to go get it. It's not being brought to us. It's being hid from us. In many situations, being hid. What did they used to say? How do you keep information from a black man? Say, put it in a book. But let me give you some game, y'all. All right. Now, is if you don't like to read, I'm going to give you some game. There's such thing as audiobooks, right? Where you can actually listen to the book. You don't have to read anymore, y'all. No excuses. You know, yeah, I'm on Facebook, but I can say too, a lot of times when you're on Facebook, are you trying to gain some knowledge? When you come to my podcast, I want you to gain some knowledge, because we're here to give you some seeds. Now, just because you have the seeds, you got to do something with them. Seeds have to be planted in the ground. They have to be watered. They have to be tended to, so you can reap a harvest. All right, y'all. Again, thank you for tuning in. But listen, let's talk about a few things before we jump into this $1 Million Baby Policy. You know, Jerome Powell, the Fed chair, he did reduce the prime rate by 50 basis points or half a percentage point. Wonderful, y'all. Wonderful. You guys were waiting on that. Now, let me ask you a question. How does that affect you in your day-to-day grind? How does that affect you? Now, dig this. It will affect the interest rates. Or it can affect the interest rates, those credit card rates, new and used car rates. But it takes time, y'all. It's a thing called a lag effect, right? It's like if you're standing on top of your house and you drop something, it takes time for it to hit the ground. And when the Fed decreases that prime rate, it's the same thing. You know, it has an effect on the stock market. Yeah, that's right. If you're in the market, it had a great effect, you know, because even before he made that announcement, you know, they were making bets. Yeah, that's right. They were making bets. Would it be a quarter point or half a point? And I'm going to tell you the reason why. You know, it stated that, you know, it's going to be 2 more meetings before the end of the year. And so coming forward today, because he did not lower the rate in July. So today or yesterday, he lowered it by 50 basis points. Now, what's going to happen now? He has to sit back, right? Because the smart money was on actually reducing it by a quarter. Because if you remember the goal, staying higher for longer, the goal was to get the inflation rate down to 2%. Well, we haven't made it to 2%. Well, let me say this. If you take out the housing market, we haven't made it to 2%. But if you take out the housing market, we've been below 2% for quite a while. And again, the focus is on inflation, but truly it should be on housing, and that is what they're looking at the top side. But this is why Jerome Powell went ahead and reduced the rate by 50 basis points. Because what's going to happen now, like I said, it's going to have an effect on the housing market. The rates are going to come down, but it's going to give the buyers the false sense of that prices are coming down. Come on, y'all, listen. They already told you that the cost of housing is still at an all-time high, at a historical high. By decreasing it 50 basis points, what kind of real effect did it have on you? Did you go to the store today? Did your price of bread go down? Did your price of meat go down? Price of creamer? Went to buy some creamer, and I'm like, wow, I was just paying $2 for it not too long ago, now it's $5. That's the real thing. But I'm not going to go into an economical report because you guys are here to hear about this $1 Million Baby policy. And what can you do to ensure that your child has an economical head start in life? Well, let's talk about that for a minute. And the reason why this came up is because I had a Jewish colleague, and they were in the process of making an investment. And they came to me, and they wanted to get a loan. Right? So the rates that the loans were able to be presented weren't favorable. He said, Keith, I'm gonna go a different route, and I'm gonna do something that I've been waiting to do for a while. I'm like, okay, what are you gonna do? He said, man, I'm gonna pay cash for it. I said, you're gonna pay? Oh, so you're gonna pay cash for the house? Okay, so you've been saving. He said, no, not me. I haven't been saving. When I was born, my parents took out a life insurance policy on me. I was like, wow, cash value life insurance policy. And I was like, that's interesting. And so you're taking from the cash value of that policy to pay cash for this investment property? He says, yes. And so he left me with that. Now, he didn't give me any insight as to the type of product, because life insurances have many different types of products within the cash value spectrum, under that cash value umbrella. Of course, they're going to tell you about term insurance. They're going to tell you about whole life. But the only thing they want to tell our community is about the death benefit. Well, when you go, this is what you're going to leave to your family. And that has been the focus for so long in our community. Where many people say, well, I'm going to live my life now. I'm not leaving anything to my kids. Listen, y'all, come on. You say you love your family. We have to come to the point that we stop leaving an inheritance of debt, an inheritance of problems. Come on, grown folk, I'm talking to you. Because we have an opportunity like the one I'm talking about right now to put in place a $1 Million Baby policy. So how's that done? Cash value whole life insurance policy, right? The name of the policy is called an Index Universal Life Policy. Index Universal Life Policy. Now, that's a policy where your cash value is actually, it has dividends in many cases, dividends from a return on an index, like the S&P 500, Moody's, it could be some businesses. There's several different types of indexes out there. So I'm not telling you about a specific one. If you want to know one that's right for you, contact me, because you know what we talk about. We talk about increasing cash flow, saving money, reducing taxes, and getting out of debt. This is what we talk about. This is my goal for each and every customer or client that I speak with. I want to teach you how to increase your cash flow, save money, reduce your taxes, and get out of debt. But I digress. Let me go back to the $1 Million Baby policy. So the IUL. So it's connected to an index But it's not a stock market play. It's not a stock market play, even though the stock market does affect it, right? The indices in the stock market does affect it. The stock market goes up, the stock market comes down. If you were investing in stock, when the stock goes up, you win, but also when the stock goes down, you lose. But with an index universal insurance policy, is based upon what you would call a point-to-point time frame. So at a point in time when you actually purchase the policy, let's say you contact me tomorrow. So Keith, I want to get an index universal life insurance policy. I'm like, fine, we put it in place. Do your application, get it approved, boom, and we're off to the races. Now, what you're looking at as far as your gains over time is going to be based on a point to point. The point in which you started that policy, and then 12 months. Now, the point in which you started in 12 months. So at the end of that 12 months is going to be consideration review of the indices in which that policy is attached to. Now, was it gains? Did the stock market or the indices that it was attached to, did they realize gains over a 12-month period when you look at the highs and lows? Because, again, the stock market just doesn't go up and just doesn't come down. It goes up and it comes down, and it goes up and it comes down, right? So over that time period, did you have a profit? Was there a profit made? Did you have any gains? And if you did, you're able to get those gains. There's some particulars in there, some details on that. I'm not going to get into the details. I just want you to get you the mindset of IUL and how it works. Now listen. So that's a point to point. So Keith, well, what if the market went down? Great question. I'm glad you asked. But if the market goes down, again, we're not talking about investing. We're talking about safe financial vehicles. If the market goes down from that point in which you started it, at that point you start your policy, we call that's a floor. That's a floor. Right now, right? Like I'm standing, right? That's a floor. You can't go lower than the floor. So what happens is, when that index goes up and it comes down, look at it like it stops at the floor. So if this is the floor and the index comes down and there's still losses being realized and it goes down, your losses stop at zero. That's right. When a point-to-point system, when it's reviewed and there was a loss in the market, you don't lose. If there's a gain in the market, you're able to participate in the gain. Y'all get that? So that is how IUL policy works in general, right? There are more details, there are different types, there are some different nuances of each and every policy. Some policies even have something that's called a floor plus. So it might be 2% higher, where you're guaranteed to at least gain at 2% even if the market goes the other way, right? There's some that have a cap, whereas if the market goes up and you have a cap of 8%, 10%, 12%, you can only realize that the market may have gone up 20%, but when you reach your cap, you can't go up any higher. But that's the details of it. But let's get into this $1 Million Baby policy. So the baby is born. Now you can start this at any time, but for this scenario, I'm going to talk about the new baby. The baby's born. 15 days later, contact me. Keith, I want to put a policy on my child. I'm like, okay. I want to do that $1 Million Baby policy. Okay. We do what we call a expert financial analysis to see exactly what makes sense as far as dollar amount to start this, right? What kind of dollar amount do we utilize? Now, the scenarios that I'm going to talk about today, I'm going to talk about two scenarios. One is going to be $100. $100 a month. $1,200 a year. The other scenario, I'll come back to that, but $1,200 a year. Now, if you don't have $100 a month, you need to contact me. You need to contact me and find out how you can share financial literacy to your friends and family, teaching them about these different type of policies and create an additional income. I said increased cash flow. That's something I talked about, right? But anyway, $100 a month. Okay. So I'm going to show you how this policy works. I'm going to share my screen a bit here, and I'm going to have to go back and forth because the way that the system is structured, when I share my screen, it won't allow me to stroll up and down. Yeah, if I can, where did my share button go? Let's see here. Where's my share? Trying something new today, y'all. I might just have to tell you about it. I am not seeing how I can share my screen now, but before I started, I did. Anybody out there know how to share the screen? Okay, guys, so it looks like I'm gonna have to talk it through, but that's fine. I can do that. Let me look at another thing. Let me try this. Nope. My share button has disappeared. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to share my screen. Next time, hey, I'll be ready for it. But let's talk about it. So, these types of policies are generated for two things. One, to give your child a head start in life. So you've contributed $100, right? $100 a month, $100 a month, $1,200 a year. That's fantastic. So when a child reaches 18, they're going to go to school. Okay, we're going to look at this scenario like they're getting student loans, right? Student loans, grants, and things of that nature. Academic scholarships, sports scholarships, getting some money to go to school. So at 18, we're going to put a pause on the $1,200 per year. No more $100 a year. Now, of course, kids, they need other things now, right? So for the next 5 years, there's not going to be any contribution to policy. The total contribution from age 1 to 18 is $20,400. Like, wow, man, that's great. Got $20,000. Is that what we're using? No, not yet. Hold on. And I wish I could share this with you. I'll do another video, and see if I can, because this is really, I really want you to be able to see this. But hey, you can't. But listen, we're gonna keep the show rolling. So at 18, you stop the payments on this. You've contributed $20,400, paying $100 a month, $1,200 a year for 17 years. And again, this is a cash value life insurance policy. Now, the cash value in this policy is actually, at that point in time, we're looking at $34,369. So that's a bit more, right? $34,000. Okay? And so what happens, right? So you stop those 5 years, you stop paying into it. But remember, it's connected to the indice, right? So it still can realize gains. And it will still continue to increase in value. So let's go through now. The child has gone through school now. They've gotten out of school now. They're ready to start life. Okay. What are we going to do now? Well, we're going to give them a head start in life. What we're going to do is, because now at age 23, and this is a real scenario that I'm giving you guys, that cash value has increased to $46,155. So now we're going to do a loan. We're going to pull money out of this cash value to give to this child, so they can start their life. They can pay some of the school debt off that they have. Or maybe they're going to take that money and put it towards a down payment on a house. What would your life have been like when you were 23 if your parents would have given you $40,000? I know what mine would have been. That would have been a great shot in the arm in my financial start. But anyway, listen. So we've given now the child basically $40,000. But let me tell you about the loans. If you haven't tuned in before, let me tell you about loans with insurance policies and how they work real quick. Like I said, okay, there's cash value in this policy now. When the loan is taken out, the total cash value in this policy is $46,155. Now the loan is going to be for $39,564. The marvelous thing about an insurance policy is that $39,564 did not come out of that $46,155. No, that $39,000 and $40,000 comes out of the insurance company general fund. It comes out of the general fund of the insurance company. And that cash value that you have built up in the policy is used as a guarantee against that money that's given. That money comes out, you don't have to pay taxes on it. But most importantly, you still have $46,155 in the cash value that did not lose the momentum of compounding interest. You could have saved the $20,400 in the bank. You probably would have had $20,440. You could have bought stock with it. But the problem when you buy stock, you get the $20,400 out, you got to sell the stock, so you lose the ability of that stock to continue to increase. You could have went to the bank and got a loan. Well, we're talking about getting out of debt, not creating more debt. So what I'm saying is that money or that cash value stays with you. Now, 24, they're going to pick it up again, paying $100 a month. But now the child is able to do it because they're working. They've started their life. Now they're going to pay that $100 for several years. They're going to pay that for several years. They're going to fast start all the way to retirement. Now let me tell you a couple things that happen when they reach retirement. First of all, the way that these policies are structured at age 65, there's no more payments towards that. Right? Because you stop working. No more payments towards that. But now, what does the child have? We're going to give this child now, because at age 65, the cash accumulation on this policy is actually $99,166. Almost a million. But what this is going to enable, now, this child that has been working all these years, 401s, and we can talk about that later, the benefits of paying only what the employer matches and other things with that. But from age 66 into 90, that child is going to get $83,596 a year. This is a retirement now. Now we have retirement age, but this started at life. Now let's switch it up real quick. Let's say it was $200 that you were able to contribute. So what would that loan look like at 22? They get the money at 22. $79,000. If they would have contributed $200 over that time period, they got $79,000. What would their retirement pay look like? At retirement, for 25 years, they would get $117,933. This is a safe bet. No, I shouldn't say bet. This is a safe engagement, and this is how the wealthy have been operating forever. Life insurance policies go all the way back to Roman times. You understand? Policies, insurance goes back to Roman times. But the only thing they want to talk about is death benefit to you and me. But there are many other things that can be done with this money. Because, for instance, what if no loans had ever been taken out of this policy? What if they wanted to pay that $100 and then, hey, at age 50, they wanted to make an investment? What kind of cash value would you have paying $100 a month? Well, they would have contributed at age 50, $52,800 in the policy, but they would have had $364,000 in whole life where they could have borrowed from. And again, the benefit of this is that when you, not like the stock market, because when it's, stock markets are built for this, when it's you buy low, sell high, but when the market goes up and the market comes down, you don't spend, you got to stay in that market. The market's a long play. You got to stay in the market. You can't pull your money out of that market. You got to stay in that market for the long play. But what if the economy crashes, right? And that stock goes down? That is the time when you're able to take advantage of these investments. When there's blood in the streets, as they call it, this is the time that you're able to jump in and take advantage of these investments that are available. But when the stock market goes, you've lost money in the stock market. You can't pull money out of that. You can't get money out of your 401k because what you're going to pay, if you're not 59 and a half, you're going to pay a 10% penalty and then a 30% tax. But if you have your money in a safe harbor, like a cash value insurance policy, you can just pull it out. But your money will continue to realize the gains on the momentum of the compounding interest, where you're able to take advantage of whatever investment opportunity that's there for you without any losses. And keep in mind, you still have the death benefit to this policy. Real quick, I'm going to go back on the one with 100, where you put in 100. Let's say the person, okay, they made it to age 90 and they passed. Okay, they've gotten $83,596 for 25 years to live off of, along with their other income. But at the point of time of passing, that person's family would have still gotten $435,476 in a death benefit. Boom! Now tell me that's not a win-win. You might say, well, Keith, I don't have $100. I don't have $200. That's okay. I'm going to help you with that. DM me and just put in there, show me the money. And I'll show you how you can actually make money by, one, learning about financial literacy, two, understanding the right vehicles, financial vehicles that can be utilized to create capital, and sharing the information. Well, in any case, y'all, that's the facts. Fact check me. DM me. Put comments out there if you feel like I'm misleading you. This is how the wealthy have been moving wealth for decades, for generations, hundreds of years. Next time, we're going to get into maybe infinite banking, being your own bank, or maybe I'll go back and we'll have a discussion about how to use a trust along with the cash value, life insurance policy, and a term policy to move wealth, and how to ensure that that money stays in your family house, creating your family bank that can be moved from generation to generation. But in any case, my name is Keith Robertson. Listen, if you found this information useful, like it, share it, subscribe. Simple as that. Please like, share, and subscribe. And if anybody's out there telling you, oh, that won't work, DM me. Let's have a conversation. I'll put my information, I'll pin my information to the top of this post, so you can give me a call. We can have a 10-15 minute conversation about you and your family well-being, and see if I can show you some ways that you can increase cash flow, save money, reduce your taxes, get out of debt. Well, in any case, my name is Keith Robertson. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of Unlocking Your Legacy. I am your personal fan coach. I'll see you next week. Peace and blessings.